1, 2, 3, 4. Welcome to HS Game Time Live Week. Welcome to HS Game Time Live Week 5. We've got all your scores and highlights as we break down another great week of high school football. Now, Week 5 was kind of a diet version because a lot of the teams that played in Week 0 had a this Friday, so they have a little break before they begin league play, which is right around the corner now. But several teams were pitted against other Southern California heavyweights. So let's get to those scores first, right off the bat. Let's go to the scoreboard with the first 3 scores as local teams took on Southern California Powers tonight. We start with Vista Marietta taking on Crespi. Chris Erkley was at that game. He will have highlights in just a moment, but we want to get you the score. The Broncos all over Crespi, 42-2 the final score. Vista Marietta led 35-0 at halftime. Colton Gerhardt had a monster game, and we'll get to those highlights. How about that one? Norco over Alemany. Maybe the upset in the state tonight. 38-27. Norco wins at home against a highly ranked Alemany squad. And one more score to show you. Redlands East Valley taking on Mission Viejo, and the Diablos win at Rev 47-21, although technically I think it was at Citrus Valley High School, but who's counting if you want to get technical. All right, back here live in the studio. Now let's get to some highlights. Battle for first place in the Inland Valley League as the Rancho Verde took on Riverside Poly tonight. The upstart Bears looking to knock off the Mustangs for a second year in a row. Could they do it? Let's take you out to the ball game, and Adam Drexler on the scene getting the highlights. He loves the kicker, so Drex put in Nick Blunt, 29 yards. Poly up 3-0 in the first quarter. Then it's Keyshawn Slaughter. Drex, what do they call him?
Green-Eyed Dragon.
The Green-Eyed Dragon. Check out that run all the way down to the 20-yard line. That sets up this. Sharon Jones, 10 yards to the Green-Eyed Dragon. Goes in for the score, and the Rancho Verde's up 7-3 to the second quarter. Chandler Drakeslin fumbles it, but it's recovered by Ekeli Ross for the touchdown, and Poly goes on top 9-7. Check out that guy. He's fired up. He won some touchdowns and some shampoo. And then Rancho Verde, Sharon Jones, picked off here by Ekeli Ross in the end zone. But Poly would not score on the ensuing drive, but still a great interception. Third quarter now. It's Keyshawn Slaughter. Get in there. 2-yard touchdown run. 15-9, Mustangs on top. Drakeslin to Ekeli Ross. He's going to fumble the ball, and it will be recovered by the Rancho Verde's Marlon Bennett. And the Mustangs trying to turn that into points. Jones, 16 yards to Xavion Brown. The 2-point conversion was no good, but they led 21-9. Now in the fourth quarter, the Green-Eyed Dragon one more time goes in for the touchdown. That made it 28-9, and the Rancho Verde goes on to the big win against Riverside Poly by a final score of 28-16. So the Rancho Verde now in the driver's seat for the Inland Valley League title. Still a lot of football to be played, but a huge win for the Rancho Verde. All right, Arlington taking on Valley View, and this was a dramatic finish. We will have Kyle Glazer joining us on the show live to break this one down. He sent back some highlights from his iPad, so we thank you for that, Kyle. And Angel, let's go ahead and roll that. Arlington taking on Valley View, and fingers crossed the highlights are working. You know it's going to be a good night when the highlights are rolling. All right, Arlington and Valley View in this one. Scoreless in the first quarter. Josh Gonzalez, the 25-yard field goal for Valley View, made it 3-0. Now we move to the second quarter. Valley View up 3-0 when Jeffrey Trujillo Wilcoxon goes in from 1 yard out, and Valley View took a 10-0 lead. But this game was far from over. Check out this great play that Kyle caught on his iPad. Quarterback for Arlington, Wyatt Moore, the old gunslinger, to DeAndre Thornton, bobbles it in the air, ends up in the hands of Lions' Tommy Negretti, 41 yards on that bizarre completion. Now Valley View up 17-15, 3 minutes and 30 seconds left in the game. Wyatt Moore, the old gunslinger, to Lavelle Thomas for the go-ahead touchdown Arlington takes the lead 22-17. Valley View with the ball, trying to find the winning touchdown here. Abraham Nuno fires away, but there's Lavelle Thomas coming down with the INT, and that'll do it with just about a minute to play as Arlington stuns Valley View by a final score of 22-17. And like I said, Kyle Glazer was at the game, and he will be here live in the show just a little bit later to break it all down for us. All right, real quick, Inland Valley League already a couple weeks deep into their season, and here's three scores to be exact from tonight. The Rancho Verde, you just saw it, beating Riverside Poly 28-16. Also tonight from the Inland Valley League, North, a winner over Vista Del Lago, 41-27. So congrats to head coach John Rice and his Huskies. And one more score from the Inland Valley League, and you just saw it. Arlington edging Valley View 22-17. The big ticket, KG, Kyle Glazer, will break it down a little bit later in the show. All right, now moving on to a pair of schools looking for their first wins of the season, La Sierra and Corona. Who would get it done tonight in week number 5? Let's roll the highlights. Angel was at this game and always does a great job. And early on, La Sierra with the ball and going strong. Derek Cruz handing it off to Jonathan the Real McCoy. Big run here for La Sierra, but no points on that drive. Now, Corona with the ball. Quarterback Tristan Beck hooks up with his big target, Ian Sutherland, and he's going to take this to about midfield. Same drive now, Beck to Sutherland again, and Sutherland will take this into the red zone for the Panthers. Now it's Beck to Briley Sheffield on the quick slant, the touchdown strike, and the Panthers are on the board first against La Sierra, leading 7-zip. The Panthers putting all kinds of pressure on Eagles quarterback Derek Cruz. They've got the sack there. And now it's Corona with the ball once again. Beck's pass sails into the hands of Edgar Plazola for the La Sierra interception. Now it's Nick Gibson. We haven't said his name much this season, but it's a great player. Breaks off this run down to about the 35-yard line of La Sierra. And on that same drive, Beck will dump it off to Gibson, who takes it down to the 15 on that one. And then same drive, but now in the second quarter, Gibson punches in the Panthers' touchdown as Corona's lead extends to 14-zip against La Sierra. Derek Cruz trying to get his team on the board. How about this? 53 yards to the paint. That'll do it. 14-7. Corona still leading after the Cruz touchdown for La Sierra. Now it's Gibson. He would answer, going 30 yards on this touchdown run. And Corona, La Sierra, Corona leading 21-7 on the Eagles in the second quarter. Still waiting on a final score, I believe, from this one. So we'll bring you the final score a little bit later in the show. All right, back to us. All right, Carter taking on Colton, a pair of teams who are 2-2 on the season and looking to get some momentum for league play. And it was low scoring. I hope you like defense. All right, Angel, let's roll those highlights from Colton High School. And this game, and all the games, brought to you by Hardy Homes and Estates. When you list with Hardy, start packing. Give them the old pep special when you go to Hardy. Ask for it. They'll treat you like a king or a queen. There's my guy, Levante Wilson, injured his wrist. He told me it was broken, and he was still playing in the ball game. So he is a definite tough guy. So early in this one, as you could tell, not a lot of offense. It was 0-0 at halftime. Late in the third quarter, it was still 0-0. So there really wasn't much doing between these two teams. And like I said, there was a lot of defense in this game. But finally, someone would break through. Jared Campo with a nice run for Colton. But like all their drives tonight on offense, they had no points to show for it. Final seconds of the third quarter, Colton punting, still 0-0 when the Lions, Zamor Ziegler, fields this punt, and he'll take it back 85 yards to the house. Carter is on the scoreboard, leading 7-zip, and they go on to defeat the Yellow Jackets by a final score of 13-0. So nice win for Carter at Colton, 13-0, your final score. I was getting a little worried I wasn't going to get any touchdowns from that game. So congrats to Alex Pierce and the Lions. Well, not a lot of scoring at Carter versus Colton. Over at Norta Vista at Bloomington, Kind of in the same situation in that game, only in the first half, though. When you see the final score, you'll say, Pep, what are you talking about? In the first half, though, it was low scoring. All right, let's roll those highlights from Bloomington High School, Angel. And there's Derek Jones, the quarterback for Bloomington. He's also a state champion high school wrestler, decided to go out for the football team. We'll have more on him on the Monday Morning Pep Rally. That's my boy, DeAndre Castanon. Freddie Hawley. Fred will play next week against his former team, Ramona. We'll talk about that on the Monday Morning Pep Rally as well. Bruins with the ball. Edgar Perez with a big run across midfield for Bloomington. And they were looking to score on their first drive of the game, but they fumble and Novi recovers there. So they go back to offense for the Braves. Michael Hedlund, the pitch to Andrew Martinez. Big run here for the Braves, but most of those yards would come back because of a block in the back. But Novi still got the first down on that play. Later on that same drive, it's Hedlund dropping back and finding Victor Gonzalez. He's taken his talents to the University of Nevada Wolfpack. And then it's Anthony Perez getting the call for Novi. Nice run here. Spins out of a tackle and picks up a couple more yards. And then it's Hedlund dropping back. His pass is tipped, and it looks like Jose Ochoa coming down with it for Bloomington. Interception there for the Bruins. The Braves defense, though, they would step up on their end. Xavier Perez, the first to the ball for the loss there. And then later, the Bruins, Edgar Perez. Another tough run here to pick up some yards, but not a lot of points to show for it in this one. Bloomington had a hard time cracking that Novi defense. Anthony Perez, the big hit there to stop the other Perez. Then it's Derek Jones to Jose Santiago. Had to say it. And no points, though, on that Bloomington drive. And as we told you, not a lot in this one. Final, about minute 18 left in the first half. It's Hedlund to Victor Gonzalez for the touchdown. And Novi would score again before halftime. They led 14-0. Final score, 49-14. Norte Vista, a winner against Bloomington. So the two teams did no scoring until about the last minute of the second quarter, and then the final score was 49-14. All right, Temecula Valley and Tahquitz. And let me preface this by saying, if you have the game-winning touchdown by Tahquitz, I'd love to have it. You can hit me up on Twitter. In fact, I'm checking Twitter right now. Or you can email it to me, jfernandez@pe.com, or hit me up on Twitter @sportswithpep. And I'd love to get the game-winning touchdown because it was a great game, and we've got some highlights, just not the finish. All right, Angel, let's take everyone out to Hemet and roll those highlights from Tahquitz High School, the visiting Golden Bears from the Southwestern League, trying to knock off the Titans. And here they come running out. Javier Cabrera, a guy who just got ran over, it looks like. I told head coach Gregovich if he wants me to pick his team every week to win, I need my face on one of those play signs. So the offer's still out there, Coach. So if you can make it happen, let's do this. All right, here comes the Golden Bears. That was Jordan Howard in that quarterback for them. Kyle Plantier's out. Now talking with the ball that they fumbled. Plantier has an injury, so he not played tonight. The Titans quarterback, Fernando Blanco to Michael Stewart. The nice pass completion. The Golden Bears, Nathan Chupp coming up with the sack there for Temecula Valley. Now it's Blanco rolling out, and Malik Bell for the Golden Bears strips the ball, and Tahquitz fumbles on the play, so Temecula Valley playing some good defense early on. They turn that into points. Harrison Flores in for the Temecula Valley touchdown, but Tahquitz wins by a final score of 15-14. And I saw on Twitter that Michael Stewart had the game-winning touchdown, I think with just a couple minutes left in the ball game. So let's come back here live in the studio. So if you have that touchdown from Tahquitz, we'd love to have it. 15-14, the final score. Tahquitz over Temecula Valley. My boy, Kyle Plantier, did not play at quarterback for Temecula Valley tonight. All right, Santa Fe taking on Chaparral. The Pumas looking to pounce on another victim before they go into Southwestern League play because it will only get tougher for Chaparral. So let's roll those highlights. Our sports writer Jeff Parenti was at this game, and he said the Pumas were doing the Oklahoma drill to warm up for Santa Fe. And a quick shout-out to the Pumas defense coming up with a big stop here. And let me find my notes because I think, Malik Lawal. That's what Jeff Parenti told me, made the big stop there. And then later, a punt block recovered in the end zone coming up now by Darian Moulton. Check him out, flying in, blocks it, block! And Moulton would recover in the end zone for a touchdown. That gave Chaparral a 29-7 lead, and they go on to win by a final score of 41-14. All right, now let's come back here live in the studio. Those are highlights from 8 different games. Chris Erickley is standing by with more from the Southwestern League, but let's get you caught up with the scores from week number 5. Angel, let's crank up the scoreboard and get everyone caught up to speed. Etiwanda blanking Cajon 28-0 tonight. So the Cowboys take a tough loss to the Eagles. Eisenhower coming up 3 points short against La Quinta, 24-21, the final score in that one. Also tonight, Rialto, a touchdown better than Grand Terrace, 21-14. Ayala and Kaiser, now the Cats came back in this one, and they hold on for the win, 18-14. Kaiser is a winner tonight. Moreno Valley tosses the shutout against Don Markham and Pacific, 48-0. Banning picks up a win against Coachella Valley, 29-16. Nice win for the Broncos. Patriot coming up short on the road at Victor Valley, 22-21. So the Warriors nearly get the job done on the road. Rim of the World, fighting Scots. Blank Desert Hot Springs, 44-0. So Rim has no trouble with Desert Hot Springs in this one. San Bernardino, I love Cardinal City. They get a win, 48-6 against Indian Springs. All right, and back here live in the studio. So those are some of the scores. Real quick, let's recap our HSGameTime top 10 rankings. Now, just a word of advice. This was before Friday night's games because we voted earlier in the week. We'll vote again next week. But Angel, let's go to the HSGameTime top 10 and show you how our top 10 fared, because it was kind of interesting this week. Centennial and Vista Marietta were tied at number 1, both with 76 votes. So it will be interesting to see if Vista Marietta, with that big win against Crespi, will vault back up to the top spot. Marietta Valley was 3, Roosevelt 4. They were hanging tough in the top 4 positions, followed by Heritage, Great Oak, the Rancho Verde, Paloma Valley, San Gorgonio, and King. King made its debut in the top 10, coming in at number 10. All right, back here live in the studio, Chris Erickley standing by with some great highlights. We're going to get to him in just a second. First, in case you missed the HSGameTime Live Blitz on Wednesday, we were joined by the Santiago Sharks and their quarterback, Blake Barnett. And it was great timing to have Blake on the show because he just got his first college offer from UCLA. Yep, the Bruins. And he's also making a trip this weekend to the University of Tennessee, and he's got also another trip planned later this month to Notre Dame. So let's hear from Blake this past Wednesday on the Blitz.
Now, Kyle, I saw Blake Barnett over the summer at, summer passing league stuff, and I don't know, he's either grown or I've gotten shorter, I'm not sure, but he's actually taller. But Blake, thanks for joining us here on the Blitz, live at Adrenaline and Corona. And big week for you. You don't have a game, but the other big news, your first offer from UCLA. Talk about that offer from the Bruins.
It's very exciting. This week, yesterday actually in school, I was at lunch, and my quarterback coach, Dennis Gile, gave me a text and said, go ahead and call Coach Noel Mazzoni. You have some big news coming. And so I gave Coach Mazzoni a call, and he talked to me and said that they put my film up in their film room, and that all the coaches liked it and they were very impressed, and Coach Mora liked it as well. And he said, I'm going to let you go ahead and talk to Taylor Mazzoni. And got on the phone with Taylor, and he said, I'm very impressed how much you've grown this season and the things you've been doing. And he said, so I'm going to go ahead and offer you. And I couldn't be more happy.
Wow, great highlights. And all these Sharks, so well-spoken, Coach. You do a great job with the football team. These guys are great on camera. Okay, so Blake, you get that offer, you make that phone call. When you get off the phone, are you just like bouncing off the walls? Are you so excited? Who did you call first? What did you do?
I was very excited, actually. I waited a little bit. I called Coach Steinberg right away to let him know to call Coach Mazzoni, and then I let my parents know, and I sent a tweet out, and I was extremely excited.
All right, so the offer comes from UCLA, but you had already planned trips to, Tennessee this weekend. I think Tennessee, right, and Notre Dame later this month. I mean, just talk about some of these other schools that are showing interest. And you're only a junior, but you're making these trips, and you're getting a lot of interest at this point.
Yes, it's great to start getting interest from schools, especially around the country. I'm excited for these trips because I've never been able to go out to Tennessee or out to Notre Dame either. So get to see a different aspect of football.
All right, back here live in the studio, and congratulations to Blake on his first offer and also the trip to Tennessee this weekend. And very special thanks to Jeff Steinberg and his team for joining us on the Blitz this past Wednesday. Join us again next Wednesday live at 5:30 as we preview Week 6 of the high school football season, which will include a lot of league games now, everyone going into league play after tonight's Week 5. All right, real quick, Ramona and King. Now, King coming off that huge, dramatic victory against Citrus Hill last week. What would they do as an encore as they finish up their non-league schedule against Ramona tonight? Let's roll those highlights from King High School. Ben Garcia going in for a 1-yard touchdown run for the Wolves early in this one. That made it 7-zip in the first quarter. Second quarter, Jacob Rogers, 26 yards to Garcia. He goes in for the touchdown, 14-0, King on top. And then later in the second quarter, I know Drex, discount double check. Your boy Rogers goes in for the score. King wins 35-6. Chris, Drex loves the old discount double check move.
He's a big fan. Are you even a Packers fan, though?
Discount double check fan.
He just loves
Who's your team, Drex?
I don't want to say.
Do you have State Farm?
Eagles.
The Eagles.
This is high school football. Come on.
All right, anyways.
La Sierra Eagles? Is that it?
Yeah, that's his team. We will have La Sierra highlights coming up a little bit later in the show. But now, Chris got the good stuff.
I always take the tour of the Southwest. It seems to be my way of...
They roll out the red carpet for you, though,
Yeah.
especially at Great Oak.
Oh, yeah. The VIP service, that's what I call it out there.
Yes.
We begin, though, with Vista Marietta would be the game of my second game that I arrived at, but I believe it's first on the menu tonight. Vista Marietta, always when I do those double dips, it's kind of a dicey situation because you could miss the exciting end of one game like I did last week against Santiago, or you could roll up to another game and it'd be 35-0 at halftime, which happened tonight. First I went to that Great Oak Summit game, then I headed over to Vista Marietta Crespi. Crespi, team that had a shaky record, but they had played the likes of, I think they took on Mater Dei and a few other SoCal powerhouses, so they definitely were paying their dues, and they were definitely paying their dues tonight when they went to Bronco City. Can we roll out to Vista Marietta and Crespi? We're ready to rock and roll. Sua Cravens, the alum, the Mr. Do-It-All there for the Broncos in the past, on hand for the game. Randy Beggs in the Vista D. Randy's hair, party in the back. He's all business on this hit. Money hit with some money hair right there. Maybe a shampoo advertisement in his future, Pep. More from the Vista D this time. Curtis Bolton coming up with the pick. And how about a little bit of the Vista offense? Mr. Gearhart out of the game at this point after his 5 touchdowns. I'm shaking my way out of the referee's way as Stewart rides into the end zone like Teddy Roosevelt in the Rough Riders. Broncos up from there at that point, 42-2. All Vista Marietta Broncos riding just the Rough Riders.
Just like
going with it.
Just like no, I don't. Does anyone else get it? Am I the only one?
The Rough Riders back in 1898. Teddy Roosevelt.
Hold on, start from the beginning. Teddy Roosevelt.
Well, back before he was president. He was in the military. He was a leader. He was either a general or a lieutenant or something of that nature. And he led the Rough Riders, which was a group in the military back in 1898. And when he became the leader of that group, they switched the name from the Rough Riders to Roosevelt's Rough Riders.
Oh, all right. Well,
there you go.
A biblical reference in your next set of highlights.
I had to go back from Watergate last week, way even back.
I didn't think it was historical enough. I thought you were going to go farther back in the history books.
1898, next week we'll hit the 1700s. How about that?
That sounds excellent.
All right.
Now to Great Oak, where they treat you like a king.
Yeah, Great Oak, that's the Wolf Pack, but they treat me like I'm a king, just like Drex and his alumni. They're rolling out the VIP service escargot.
There's Drex.
Hey.
Eagles.
Escargot and Cristal for me waiting in the...
Yeah, can we go back and do the discount double check for us, Drex?
There we are.
He shot the Riverside Poly Rancho Verde game tonight.
He's so excited he can't get out of his chair. Look at that. Anyways,
We've
rolling
digressed.
out to Great Oak. They call it Angel Ortiz Field out there, I believe is what they changed.
Stadium,
the name
isn't
of the
it?
Angel Ortiz Stadium,
Yeah.
Rolling out there. The fans in full force. They're ready. Wolfpack Nation in full effect. Packed house tonight. Jonathan Hernandez gets to work opening up the running lanes like Moses parting the Red Sea.
Oh, there it is.
Check out this pickup right here. 30-yard extraordinaire. More on the drive from Great Oak. Laquan Williams to his favorite target, Brandon Presley. Bringing it down to the doorstep. Then Nick Fisher. We had him on 2 weeks ago in that shootout with Heritage. He gets it done on the drive. The first score for Great Oak. They get on the board 7-0 here, getting it into the corner of the end zone. Then Summit trying to hold up back the Wolfpack attack. Williams under pressure, hands off the grenade here to his buddy Raquan Yates, who's swarmed by the Summit line. Summit, though, would reverse their fortune on the board. Keyshawn Fleming lets it fly to the wide-open Jordan Washington. 7-7 into the first quarter. Great Oak far from done. Great Oak back on the move. It's Laquan. That's a bonus highlight. I forgot that we had that one.
Bonus
in there.
coverage?
Excuse me, bonus coverage. Then Great Oak back on the move. Laquan Williams dancing around, doing his best. Tim Tebow shaking and baking, making moves happen. About out just past the 50-yard line to the 45. That later on in the drive, it's Williams to his boy Presley, taking it all the way to Graceland, a.k.a. the end zone. 14-7 would be the score at that time, but Great Oak in the driver's seat all second half long. We didn't miss much in there. 45-14 would be the finale, but watch out. Next week's shootout out there in the Southwest, Marietta Valley, Great Oak. Who will be the last man standing?
That should be a great game.
Should be.
And it's good to see we gave a salute to the Vista Marietta defense, because by the time we got there, the offense had already piled up the points.
The only points tonight for Crespi came on a safety on a botched punt situation that flew into the end zone, so they did not allow anything. Donuts.
And what'd your boy Sua Cravens have to say tonight? Anything?
Sua, he usually loves the camera, but tonight he was shy when I wanted him to do a little something. He said,
That's not the Sua I know.
Yeah,
Come on.
he said he was embarrassed and that he didn't want to say anything on camera in front of everyone, which with that $1 million cardinal and gold mohawk that he had going on.
There he is.
That baby's
Good job,
fit
Angel.
for the camera. Look at that. His boy Bryce Smith, his former
at RCC right now.
linebacker,
Yeah.
mate. Sua, what has he got, 2 interceptions right now for the Trojans?
He started all 5 games. I mean, I don't know. I don't have his stats in front of me.
He's just happy. He's got a smile that with that new coaching regime, they've been eating
Ed
like
Ogeron.
kings this week. I think they got catered from the best LA has to
It didn't
offer.
e- didn't,
They had Roscoe's, I heard on
did
Thursday.
they?
Yeah.
And Coach Ogeron added cookies to like the training table, I heard, or
There you
read
go.
somewhere. So, anyways, all right, Chris, you'll be back with us a little bit later in the show as we break down those games again. But in case you're just joining us on the show, let's get you caught up with some of the scores from tonight. Vista Marietta and Crespi, you just saw it. Chris Erickley had the highlights. 42-2. The Broncos, a big winner, bouncing back from that loss to Cathedral Catholic the previous week. Also tonight, involving some of those big hitters from Southern California, we had Alemany taking on Norco, and the Cougars get the job done, winning by a score of 38-27. So a big win for Norco as they knock off a highly ranked team. And one more featuring those Southern California high school powers, Mission Viejo and Redlands East Valley. The Diablos come out to the IE and come away with a 47-21 victory against the Wildcats. All right, back here live in the studio. Time to get back to the highlights and the game that took place for first place in the Inland Valley League. The Rancho Verde taking on the upstart Riverside Pauley Bears. And the winner of this one would have the inside track to the IVL crown. Angel, let's do this. Let's roll the highlights. Bears, Mustangs, and a salute to the kickers. We love the kickers. Nick Blunt, 29 yards, puts Pauley up 3-zip early in this one in the first quarter. And then it's Drex. Who was your guy? Green-Eyed Dragon. Keyshawn Slaughter, 55 yards. And a big run there. Next time we get the Green-Eyed Dragon, we should punch up your shot so you can say it. Jones, Sharon Jones, 10 yards to the Green-Eyed Dragon. 7-3, the Rancho Verde. Now to the second quarter. Chandler Drakeslin fumbles it, but it's recovered by Akili Ross in the end zone for the touchdown. That made it 9-7. They want more touchdowns and a little bit of shampoo on that Riverside Pauley sideline. Then it's Rancho Verde's Jones. Picked off here in the end zone by Akili Ross. The Bears would not get any points on the ensuing drive, but still a great interception there. To the third quarter, it's the
Dragon.
You got say it, Drex.
Green-eyed dragon.
Back to the highlights. 15-9 Rancho Verde. Still in the third quarter. Drake's to Akili Ross. He fumbles the ball. Recovered by Rancho Verde's Marlon Bennett. And they would turn that into points. The Mustangs going to work on offense. Jones, 16 yards to Xavion Brown. No two-point the two-point conversion was no good. That made it 21-9. And in the fourth quarter, one more time for
Dragon.
the Green-Eyed Dragon. There he is. Not you. You're not the Green-Eyed Dragon. The Rancho Verde wins, but they did get a late score for Riverside Poly in this one. But the Rancho Verde does go on to the victory by final score of 28-16. So the Mustangs now in the driver's seat for the Inland Valley League Championship. All right, keeping it in the IVL, Arlington and Valley View. Kyle Glazer was at the game, sent back some great highlights, including the dramatic finish as the Lions pull this one out. Angel, let's roll the highlights from this one out there in Moreno Valley. And it was all Eagles early in this one. They grabbed the early lead. Josh Gonzalez, the 25-yard field goal to make it 3-zip. And then to the second quarter now, Jeffrey Trujillo Wilcoxon from 1 yard out punches it in. That makes it 10-zip Valley View. To the second quarter, still 10-zip. Arlington quarterback, the old gunslinger, Wyatt Moore to DeAndre Thornton, bobbles it in the air. And there's Tommy Negretti, 41 yards on the pass completion. So that's one way to do it, the buddy system, I guess, for Arlington. But let's fast forward to the juicy part, to the finish here. Valley View up, 17-15, 3 minutes, 30 seconds left in the game. Moore, 25 yards to Lovey. Lavelle Thomas, 22-17. Arlington takes the lead. Valley View gets the ball back with a chance to win it. Abraham Nuno goes to the end zone. You gotta love it. It's Lovey hauling down the INT. That will do it. Arlington wins 22-17 as they gut out a big win on the road at Valley View tonight. So congratulations to Pat McCarthy and the Lions tonight defeating the Eagles. Let's go to that Inland Valley League scoreboard now and get you up to speed on the three scores from tonight. The Rancho Verde 28-16 over Riverside Poly. The North Huskies, they beat Vista Del Lago 41-27. So congrats to head coach John Rice and his team out there. And one more score, you just saw it. Arlington 22-17 over Valley View. Now Kyle Glazer is supposed to join us on the show right now, but you know what? Let's do the La Sierra Corona highlights, and we'll come back to Kyle. So Angel, let's go ahead and roll that from Corona High School. La Sierra and Corona, and then we'll get back to Kyle when he comes in here in just a moment. Both teams looking for their first win of the season. Eagles with the ball early on. Jonathan, the real McCoy, breaks off the big run for the Eagles, but no points on that drive for La Sierra. So we go to Corona with the ball. Quarterback Tristan Beck drops back, hits his big target, Ian Sutherland, and he's going to take this to about midfield. And later on that same drive, it's Beck once again going to Sutherland. He will take this down into the red zone about the 15-yard line for the Panthers. Same drive, it will be Beck to Briley Sheffield on the slant on the TD strike. Panthers get on the board first, and they led 7-0. Panthers putting all kinds of pressure on Eagles quarterback Derek Cruz. They've got the sack there. Now it's Corona back with the ball. Beck's pass sails in the hands of Edgar Plazola for the La Sierra interception. On the next offensive possession for Corona, it's Nick Gibson getting a big run here for the Panthers. 35 yards, or down to the 35-yard line of La Sierra. And this drive, Beck dumps it off to Gibson. This time he'll take it down to the 15 for Corona. Now the same drive, but in the second quarter, Gibson punches in the touchdown. Get in there! 14-0. Corona on top. Back come the Eagles. Derek Cruz busting off a 53-yard touchdown run for the Eagles. That made it 14-0. They were still trailing Corona. The Panthers wasted little time to answer. Nick Gibson gets the call. He'll go 30 yards to the paint. And Corona, we believe, goes on to the victory. Did we get the final score for this one yet? Yes. 21-7. Let's go back here live in the studio. I'm no math major, Kyle Glazer is far smarter than me. Kyle, what was the score?
21-7 Corona.
21-7 Corona. So we got all the scoring in the highlights.
Yep, apparently.
Man, it's just been a banner night here at HSGameTime Live. All right, Kyle Glazer. We need to give Kyle a round of applause. He got video highlights on the iPad, and it was amazing. He got the dramatic finish. We just showed the Arlington Valley View game. Valley View jumped out in front, but as you saw, the Lions roared back.
They did. Valley View 10-0 at halftime, 17-8 after 3 quarters. Arlington really didn't show any life on offense for the first half at all. They had just 68 yards in the first half. Lavelle Thomas, just an excellent effort in the second half. You saw he had an 80-yard touchdown run on the first offensive play of the second half, hauled in the go-ahead touchdown pass with 3.5 minutes remaining, then that interception to seal it. Just a great job by him. Wyatt Moore, the quarterback for Arlington, was 1 for 5 in the first half. Couldn't really do a whole lot. Second half, 4 for 4 with 2 late touchdown passes. Really a great effort by Arlington. They could have laid down and said, tonight's not our night, but they didn't. They came back and got a huge Inland Valley League win.
All right, real quick, we're going to have Dennis Pope on the show in just a second to talk about Ramona King, and our guy Drex has already prepped him to say, hey, get in here. We're going to talk to you soon. But back to Kyle. So what do you think the halftime adjustments were? What do you think they went into the locker room and talked about? And obviously we were much improved in the second half for Arlington.
Coach McCarthy said he just kind of talked to his team and said, guys, we're really lucky to only be down 10-0 right now. They were not playing well at all. Valley View could have had a 17-20, maybe even 21 or 24-0 lead at half. So McCarthy just told his guys, get your act together. The quarterback's coach spoke with Wyatt Moore and said, just calm down. So it really was a mental thing for them. It wasn't like they made a huge adjustment in terms of a strategy. They just, had to get their game under them. And Lavelle Thomas gave them a jolt, and from then on out, the team rolled to victory.
Big team win, but for a second, let's talk about Lavelle Thomas. The interception to put them ahead, and then also the INT at the end. If players make plays, when in crunch time.
Going into this year, everyone knew that he was Arlington's best player, and he took it upon himself at halftime. I talked to him, and he said, you know what? I decided to step up. I decided that my team needed me. We needed a playmaker, and I was going to be that guy, and he was that guy. He's really established himself. Everyone knew he was a great defensive threat in terms of pulling down interceptions, but he's shown some life on offense. A couple of big plays, 126 total yards and 2 touchdowns, only came on 6 touches, all in the second half. The guy's explosive, and I think one of the more underrated athletes in the inland area.
So Arlington quietly 2-0 right now in the IVL after wins against Vista Del Lago and Valley View. So, the Lions had got off to a tough start this season, and, a lot of things off the field before the season even began. But maybe a turning point here for Arlington?
Possibly. They still have Rancho Verde and Riverside Poly on the schedule. Those are clearly the top 2 teams in the Inland Valley League, but it is encouraging. Arlington really did not look very good at all their first 3 games. Showed some life against Citrus Hill, but never even led against them. These last 2 games, 2 wins in league play, that's exactly how you want to start off. Pat McCarthy and his boys, that's a perennially competitive program. We'll see if they can build off of it. They weren't so impressive. You come out of this saying, oh, they can totally take Rancho Verde and Riverside Poly, but they're winning football games, and that's a step in the right direction.
Okay, G, while we got you here, let me ask you about the Rancho Verde and Riverside Poly. Surprised by the score? Or, most of us, I think, here at HSGameTime picked the Mustangs to win, but we have a lot of respect for what the Bears are doing this season.
I'm not totally surprised. 28-16, so while it's a comfortable win for Rancho Verde, it wasn't a blowout by any stretch of the imagination. Poly's a good team. We know that they're not quite at the level of a Rancho Verde, and truthfully, very few teams in the inland area are when you look at Division I caliber athletes, just the history of that program. But Poly's hanging tough, and that's more than can be said in previous years. I think they are clearly the second best team in the Inland Valley League, and they control their own destiny to get that second place spot and the automatic playoff berth.
All right, Kyle, thank you for joining us, and thanks for that video. It was great to see that dramatic finish by Arlington. And Angel, we're going to call an audible real quick. Before we bring Dennis Pope in, let's go ahead and do the Carter-Colton game, and then we'll follow that up with the Norte Vista Bloomington. So let's go to the Carter-Colton game, and then we'll bring Dennis Pope on to talk about Ramona taking on King. All the highlights tonight, the entire show brought to you by Hardy Homes and Estates. When you list with Hardy, start packing. That's my guy, Levante Wilson. He told me on the sideline he broke his wrist, and he was still playing. Yeah, he's that tough. He was playing some defense. He wanted to carry the ball on offense, but he was at least playing some defense. All right, let's go to the highlights. Not a lot of scoring in this one for either team. It was 0-0 at halftime. Here comes Lokini Toa Iloa. I hope I'm getting your name right, man. That was Levante Wilson with the big play. There's Toa Iloa repaying the favor with a nice play for the Lions. 0-0 in the third quarter. Someone looking to get something going on offense. That's Jared Campa. Nice carry for Colton, but like all their offensive possessions on the night, they came up empty. No points to show for it. Final seconds of the third quarter, still 0-0, when the Lions, Zamori Ziegler breaks off this punt, 85 yards back to the house. So Carter gets on the scoreboard first. They led 7-zip, and they go on to a victory by final score of 13-0. So not a lot of points in this one, but the Carter defense and special teams there. Ziegler getting it done as they defeat Colton by final score of 13-0. All right, back here live in the studio. Dennis Pope standing by to talk about Ramon and King. But first, let's take you out to Bloomington, where the Bruins were home for Norte Vista. Angel, let's roll those highlights. And as you'll see, compared to the Colton Carter, it was another low-scoring affair. Derek Jones, quarterback in Bloomington, and he is a state champion wrestler. Went out for the football team this season and playing quarterback. There's my guy, DeAndre Castanon, injured, did not play. Freddie Hawley, number 1. Not eligible yet. He transferred from Ramona. Eligible next week. I guess they play Ramona. Yep, it's going to be a big game. All right, early in this one, Bruins. Edgar Perez, the big run across midfield. So Bloomington looking to punch in a score on their opening drive. But they fumble here on the play, and Movie would recover. So they get nothing in turn for that. And let's see, that one's kind of freezing on us. Played earlier. We were watching the show earlier because it played just fine. I can tell you that Norte Vista won 49-14, and we will have the complete highlights. In case you missed it earlier in the live show, we will have the complete highlights on the Saturday scouting reports. All right, back live in the studio. Ken Ramona, what would the Wolves do as an encore after beating Citrus Hill in dramatic fashion last week? All right, Angel, let's take them out to King High School, where they hosted Ramona tonight, and we've got Dennis Pope standing by to break down that game as King is 5-0. That's Ben Garcia going in for the touchdown for King that made it 7-0. And then later in the second quarter, Jacob Rogers, the quarterback, to Garcia, 26 yards for another touchdown. That made it 14-0 King. And then as we get ready to do the discount double check, maybe we can punch up Drexler here. It's Jacob Rogers, 5 yards for the touchdown, 21-0. Drex, Rogers scores, so what's it mean?
Just got a double check.
There you go. All right, Dennis Pope. Yeah, we can't all be Adam Drexler. Hey, did I say the final score? 35-6. King won.
35-6, yep.
So, I mean, King, nothing against Ramona, but King was supposed to win this game, especially seeing how well they played and beat Citrus Hill the previous week. But, so what do you think of King? 5-0 right now.
Yeah, it's the first 5-game winning streak they've had since 2005. They've certainly played the right competition to get that record. Some people think that they played down to the level of their competition. They did that a little bit there in the third quarter against Ramona. They had a field goal blocked, and then they also fumbled crossing the goal line to score another touchdown that was called a touchback eventually. So they had their miscues, and then Coach Corden says they definitely have a bunch of stuff to work on still.
Well, they're 5-0. They open with Corona, so they could easily go to 6-0, theoretically.
Easily, that's a tough one. Just talking to the people, nobody thinks so far that they're going to beat Corona. Corona has Gibson, the running back, who's one of the area's elite. And it's hard to say that King has an elite player at this moment. They have the offensive lineman, Krebs. Is it Sean or Will?
Sean Krebs.
Sean Krebs. He's going to Washington State,
correct?
Right? Yep. But he didn't play tonight. I guess he got dinged up in the game against Citrus Hill, and Corden said he's got a bright future, and they just don't want to mess with anything right now. And I think they figured Ramona was probably a victory in hand, so he didn't start. He was just hanging out in his warm-up suit.
And we just saw the highlights a little bit earlier. Corona with a nice win against La Sierra, 21-7 at home, so the Panthers get their first win. But, let's just assume for a second and play the hypothetical game that, King beats Corona. They're 6-0, but then they get to the teeth of their schedule, completing their Big 8 league schedule. So, I mean, we're looking at La Sierra and Corona right now. So, next week, King against Corona. I mean, do you kind of see it as an even battle? You mentioned Nick Gibson,
Yeah,
one of the best players.
It's going to be a close
area.
game. King, they run the ball effectively. If the offensive line's doing what it's supposed to do, hopefully Krebs comes back and that gives them a little bit extra boost. Jawan Washington, King's number 1 running back, he had the most carries. I think he had 26 carries tonight. He ran for 234 and a late touchdown. But they were kind of piling on against Ramon at the end. I think that's his first 200-yard rushing game of the season, maybe his career.
And on the flip side, let's remember, the Rams were winless last year. They've already got 2 wins this season. They're obviously heading in the right direction. What can you say about Ramon? I mean, obviously King is much improved from what we've seen in recent years. So, if you're looking,
they're opportunistic. They make plays when they're available. But King had Ramona off balance very early on, and Damon Mays, their quarterback, had a hard time getting back into his rhythm. I think he finished like 6 of 20.
But I heard he was the homecoming king. Or he was up for homecoming.
He's a big, tall dude. I don't know. Some people might think he's handsome.
I think you just did. Hey, what did you have to do to get that? What did you do to get that sticker?
I actually took my son to the doctor today and he got a shot. So
wait, no.
He gets the sticker, but he stuck it on me.
Oh,
so it's mine to keep.
Come on, Pope. I got kids. When you go to the doctor, like, they got a shot. Can I get a sticker?
No, I don't ask for stickers. I'm a big boy.
All right, Pope, you're the best.
Pep,
boom.
I'll see you soon.
All right, now let's see. We're going to Temecula Valley against Tahquitz as we take a look at some of these Southwestern League teams. Chris Erickley will be joining us in just a second. Here come the Titans. Tahquitz running out all fired up. Javier Cabrera was at the game, nearly got ran over. And I told head coach Dennis Gregovich at Tahquitz, put my face on one of the play calling signs, and I will pick the Titans to win every single week in the You Pick 'em contest. The offer is still good, coach, so let's hook that up. All right, Temecula Valley with the ball. Kyle Plantier, the quarterback, did not play in this one. He was injured, so he did not play. And then Tahquitz to the ball, they fumble it, and Temecula Valley recovers. And then it's the Titans, Fernando Blanco to Michael Stewart, the nice pass completion. The Golden Bears would answer with some defense. Nathan Chupp comes up with the sack. And then later, Tahquitz back with the ball. Blanco rolls out. Malik Bell strips it loose for Temecula Valley, and Tahquitz fumbled on the play. Now it's Garrison Flores trying to capitalize and gets in the end zone for Temecula Valley. That made it 7-0. But you know what? Tahquitz would win this one. Final score 15-14. Apparently the Titans had a late touchdown, I believe, by Michael Stewart to win it. We can come back here live in the studio, Angel. And so if you've got the highlights, if you want to email it to me, if you want to hit me up on Twitter, I'd love to have it. So Tahquitz beat Temecula Valley 15-14. Michael Stewart, the game-winning touchdown late in the contest with about 2 or 3 minutes to go, I believe. So if you have it, hit me up, jfernandez@pe.com or on Twitter @sportswithpep, and we can arrange to email or send that video over because we'd love to have the game-winning touchdown from Tahquitz. So Coach Gregovich, if you're watching out there, I hope you have that video because we'd love to have it. All right, one other game before we get to Chris Erickley. Santa Fe taking on Chaparral. And Jeff Parenti was at this game and sent back this video. Jeff always does a great job with the video. Give him a quick shout out because he's tireless and does great. That was the Oklahoma drill by the Pumas. Jeff said they were warming up doing that. And early in this one, a little Chaparral defense. Let's see, let me get my trusty shot sheet out. I believe that was Malik Lawwell. Yeah, it was. Coming up with the play. And then Santa Fe with the ball. They would be forced to punt. And Chaparral blocks it. And Darian Moulton would recover for the touchdown in the end zone for Chaparral. They led 29-7 at that point, and they go on to the victory, 41-14, the final score. All right, back here live in the studio, Chris Erickley is back from the Southwest with some great action.
Vista Marietta, we've got that game. We've also got the Great Oak game, Pep, between Chaparral, Vista Marietta, Great Oak, and Marietta Valley. I think in the next couple weeks here, we're going to see some fine and dandy games.
You didn't mention Marietta Mesa. You got something against the Rams, or
nothing against the Rams? I'm just saying I think I've seen them all now, and the ones Rams. They got to win against Tahquitz, against your.
They did. My Titans.
Tahquitz. But from the teams that I'd say were the most impressive so far were those first 4 that I named.
And they really treat you like royalty at Great Oak. So I thought
Great
you'd jump
Oak,
on the Wolfpack
get the VIP treatment. If you park there, they give you the VIP treatment. Get your name on the list. It's like you're getting into
what list?
It's like you're getting into the 40-40 Club, Jay-Z in the Bronx or Manhattan or wherever that is. But we begin at Vista Marietta. And
Were you on the list at Vista?
I'm always on the list.
That's right.
When you know Kurt Ruth, you know everyone.
Yeah,
There's
well,
Sua
okay.
Cravens. Look at talking about VIPs at the game. Sua Cravens, the former Vista Marietta star, now the star at USC. Hey, maybe he'll go Bill Russell and go player coach now over there for in Trojan Town.
Why
What do
not?
you think? Maybe let's roll it. Let's roll it out there. Sue with the $1 million smile, giving that shout out to HSGT. We'll see that a little later on the Saturday show there. Then Randy Beggs. Randy's hair, party in the back. He's all business on that big hit. Patrick Willis style, throwing out little Niners there. Then more from the Vista D. Curtis Bolton, breaking Crespi's heart like his distant cousin, 90s heartthrob Michael Bolton. One more score for Vista. Stuart Riding rides into the end zone like Teddy Roosevelt and the Rough Riders back in 89 and
where's my notes?
1889, like I told Pep. I figured that out. They were in the Army. Did I say the Marines before?
Did you go Google that?
Army. I Googled it to clarify. They were in the Army. So
I already lost my notes. I'm sorry.
1898 that was. Anyways, speaking of big numbers, 42-2 was the final score. Vista Marietta over Crespi. The only score tonight for Crespi. 2 points on a safety on a little botched punt scenario that flew into the end zone.
Well, that's nice. They gave him a couple points.
Yeah.
Send him home with a safety.
Rolling it out VIP style, Great Oak and Summit was the first game I visited. As they said, what'd you call it? Angel Ortiz
Stadium,
Stadium. That's what they called it now.
Naming
Angel.
rights.
He just donated $50 million, we understand, to the program. It's going to be...
Angel's our director, by the way, for HSGameTime.
Angel is the man behind the magic. There we go. Jonathan Hernandez opening up the running game like Moses parting the Red Sea on the big pickup there. More on the drive from Great Oak. Laquan Williams to his favorite target, Brandon. Thank you very much. Presley down to the doorstep. Nick Fisher finishing it off on the drive, breaking off to the corner of the end zone. 7-0 Great Oak. Then Summit trying to hold off the Wolfpack attack. Williams now under pressure. Hands off the live grenade there to his buddy Raquan Yates, who takes the punishment back towards their own territory. Summit trying to make things happen, letting it fly to Keyshawn Fleming to Jordan Washington, 7-7 the score at the end of the first quarter. But the Great Oak defense would be putting the pressure on the Summit attack from there. Great Oak with a Wolfpack attack, no pun intended. Great Oak back on the move on the offense now. Laquan Williams doing his dancing moves side to side, Timmy Tebow style. Johnny Manziel, the works, the freshman phenom for the big pickup. Then, later in that drive, Williams to his boy Presley, taking it all the way to Graceland, a.k.a. the end zone. Plenty of end zone action for Great Oak tonight, 45-14. If they put themselves on a list like they do the parking list, they would be on the winners list. 45-14 the win for Great Oak over Summit tonight.
Still trying to figure out what list this is. I mean, they must have some high rollers go to Great Oak.
I think they actually said that Barack Obama was making a cameo. They were flying.
They weren't in government, so I guess they had time to...
The government shut down. They said Barack was flying Air Force One to
Great Oak.
Into Great Oak. They were.
He's like, I heard about this new Angel Ortiz Stadium down there in Temecula.
He wanted to check it out. He heard Angel had just made that $50 million donation.
Wanted to congratulate him.
But it was all Humanitarian of the Year award. Speaking of awards, how about Pep Fernandez with his CIF award just a few days ago? We told him we wanted him to put it right here in between the two helmets, but he didn't want to bring it in. He said that thing's pure diamond. It was worth, what, $5 million?
Yeah.
So it was too risky to bring it in.
I couldn't bring it in. I have it locked up in a vault.
In a vault.
Secure location I can't talk about.
There you go.
So, well, thank you, Chris. And before we get out of here tonight, let's run down a couple more of those scores from Week 5 just to get you all caught up for the weekend. Etiwanda blanks Cajon 28-0. So the Cowboys with a tough loss to Etiwanda. I think we all picked Cajon in this one. I'm not sure. Eisenhower losing at La Quinta. I cannot believe this score. I really thought they'd beat La Quinta. 24-21. Ike falls in this one. Still can't. I'm still trying to get over that one. All right, Rialto defeating Grand Terrace 21-14. A great night to be the Knights. They win by a touchdown at GT. Kaiser comes back in this one and holds off Ayala 18-14. So the Cats pick up a much-needed victory. Moreno Valley tossing the shutout against Pacific 48-0. So the Vikings right the ship just in time as they head to River Valley League. Their contest with Norte Vista should be a great one. Banning in Coachella Valley. The Broncos get a win, 29-16. So congrats to Banning tonight. I think we've got a couple more. Patriot going on the road to Victor Valley, and the Warriors so close to getting the victory. They fall by one, 22-21, the final score. Rim of the World, the Fighting Scots, all over Desert Hot Springs, 44-0. Rim, the big winner tonight in Week 5. San Bernardino, Cardinal City. My boy Nico Forbes and the Cardinals win 48-6 against Indian Springs. All right, that'll do it for all the scores, and we will be adding more highlights, additional highlights to the big Saturday show, the Saturday Scouting Report. So please check back with HSGameTime on Saturday afternoon as well. And one more time, if you've got video highlights that you would like to send us, we would love to have it. jfernandez@pe.com is my email. So if you've got video of Norco beating Alemany or the game-winning touchdown for Tahquitz tonight against Temecula Valley, please hit me up, jfernandez@pe.com. We'd love to get some of your video, and we'll give you a shout-out on the show, so we'll make you famous. All right, please join us on Wednesday for the Blitz. Let's cue up Adam Drexler one more time. He did a great job tonight, everybody. He covered the Rancho Verde Poly game, and he deserves a big shout-out. He also does the scoreboards over there. So good job, Drex. Hey, wait, hold on. Look, I can do this. Hey! So, PE.com. All right, so join us on Wednesday for the Blitz as we preview Week 6 of the football season, and obviously back here next Friday for HSGameTime Live. For everyone else here, I'm Pep Fernandez. We'll do it again next Friday at 10:45. Have a great weekend.